There we go. Now I have mic audio. Hello, everybody. I said a lot of things, and no one will ever know what I said when the mic was muted. But that's okay. Welcome. We're going to hang out here. It's a Tuesday night. We're going to draw some stuff. Going to answer some questions. Going to talk about pirates and pizza and pasta and prednisone and potatoes and many other P words or something. I'm going to draw on this tablet. I'm going to make some trash here because trash is the most fun thing to make. And we'll see what we get. No promises about good drawings here. Maybe I should promise only bad drawings. Terrible drawings, the worst drawings possible. But we'll see. We'll see where we get. This is just totally freeform sketching, FYI. Hello, the Gay Mentor, or Polaire, GMF, or Dog Caretaker, or Parker. Hello, Varha. I apologize if I'm pronouncing anybody's name incorrectly. Who's to say I'm good at internet names? Nobody. Welcome. There's already a question. Varha says, hey, I'm a computer engineer student, and I was wondering what jobs could be available in the video game industry with that major. Well, Varha, a computer engineering student can be many different things in the games industry. It depends on what you want to do. What do you want to do? Do you want to do gameplay? Do you want to make some systems? Do you care about multiplayer and network code and all that fun stuff? Do you want to do some graphics engineering? There are many different jobs you could do. It depends on what you want to do, because computer engineering is a pretty broad subject that covers a lot of other smaller subjects. So you tell me, what do you want to do? Arcadian, you're a big fan of bad drawings. Well, so am I. That's why I make them. Let's see. I don't know what I'm making here yet. I think what I've found is that I figure out what I'm making eventually in these drawings. I have no objective here other than to draw. I think previously on other episodes of this show, of this stream, I had explained that I don't get a lot of time to just sit and draw. So this is not just for, you, the audience. This is for me personally to chill the fuck out for a moment and draw some stuff. Something that I don't need to care that much about. Has no consequences, no stakes, like Marvel movies. Sick burn. Hot take. But yeah, that's what we're doing here. We're just drawing. This looks like... what am I making here? Oh, I'm kind of getting an idea what I'm doing here. I think this might be some sort of mountain scene now. I think that's what we're doing. We're going to do some wild mountains. Okay. I guess we're committing to that. Or not. I'm more of a character person than a landscape person, so I like to find cool characters, or really crummy characters, inside of fun shapes. Like this. This is a guy with a weird nose. Yeah, there we go. And he's got a tiny beard, little pokey beard, and he's gonna have a stupid little lip. There we go. And it's gonna be kind of smiling a little bit. Yeah. I think we got a guy here. It's a good guy. And we need to give him more of an eyeball. This is, let me tell you, a very sad and upsetting eyeball. If you got questions, please ask questions about anything. What do you want to ask about? I'll do my best to answer your question in a timely fashion between looking at and drawing really stupid things, like this guy with a tiny beard, and a unpleasant eyeball right now. His eye's not working. He's gonna get sunglasses instead. That's what happens in character design. Sometimes you can't draw things. You forget how to draw, and then you end up drawing something else that's easier to draw. Because why not? At least you got to get something out on paper or digitally, and it becomes a much easier prospect. So now, because I couldn't draw an eye on him, he gets a really cool set of rad sunglasses, whatever that means. And his hair is going to be very anime. There we go. There's my good friend sunglasses. All right, who's talking about things? Krita is free, and I use that when it comes to making digital art. What is Krita? Is it an art program? Is it supposed to be like Photoshop? Because if it's like Photoshop, then that's cool, because anything free to fight against the tyranny of Adobe, I'm into. I think I'm too fully committed to the Adobe platform and style and everything to probably ever switch, unfortunately. They caught me. They caught me at a young age, and now I can't do it. It's like cigarettes. You know, can't quit. I'll never really quit Adobe, even if I want to. It's very sad. All right, Triple JY2K asks, what Annapurna games have you played, and what do you think of the ones you have? I played pretty much all of them. You know, a lot of the Annapurna games are made by friends or people that I know, acquaintances, other indie folk. So I try and play all of those games, and I have. I've enjoyed all of them in some capacity or another. Some more than others, for sure, but I think Annapurna does a good job of curating and supporting, I think, what they view more as art than business in some ways, which is cool. You know, that's the reason why we joined up originally with them, is because they care about the creative end goals for people, just as much, if not more, than they care about the business side. You know, at the end of the day, they're still a publisher and they still care about business, just like we all care about money and things like that to support ourselves. But it's a bit different than some other publishers. So recently I played 12 Minutes. 12 Minutes was wild. It was a wild ride. I thought it was fascinating to see how it was put together and understand the puzzle logic behind it. I'm a big fan of kind of like clockwork puzzles, and especially when you can execute them at scale, and that game is all about that. I'm down for it. So, you know, it was very I'm an appreciator of that game, that it exists and did the things that it did. I don't know what this is yet. I think this is a bird. Yeah, I think this is a bird. Let's make this a bird. It's going to be a cool bird. A very cool bird with a cool head. All right, what other questions are hanging out? It looked like Varha answered there. And you said, I love the music. Is there a source? There's a playlist that I might share. Dog Caretaker says, is Half-Life 3 real? No, it is not. That was Half-Life Alyx. It already released. They're done. Do you really think that Valve is going to go back and release something else now? Probably not. So if you haven't played Half-Life Alyx, I would highly suggest doing it. I think this is going to be another bird. Ooh, he's going to have a smoky top. He's going to have like a cool feathery top here. That's what this bird's going to do. And have some creepy oh, there we go. Yeah. Very creepy eyeball. Good job, bird, on hanging out here. Gonna have a cool wing. There we go, bird. And then you should have some plump bird. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, which it is very soon, and I hope you all have somebody to hang out with, this bird is going to have very long legs, upsettingly long legs, and a very plump belly. That's what's going to happen. There we go, bird. Good job, bird. Okay. What else is going on? Ask some more questions, folks, while I hang out here and change the music, because that was a boring song. Does anybody have an album that they're listening to lately? I'm going to ask you questions. What's your current favorite album? Doesn't have to be of all time, just currently. What are you listening to? Make some suggestions. I need suggestions for new music. And then I'll answer questions. All right, Kong or Kuong Bong. That's an interesting name. Hi, I have synesthesia, and HLD's been one of the best sensory experiences I've ever had. What's your favorite part of the game? It's also amazing. Good luck finishing up Solar Ash. I'm super excited. Well, Kong, I'm going to hope that it's Kong. I think synesthesia is really cool. I wish I had it, but I don't. Maybe I need to do more acid or something. I'm glad that you had a cool experience, a different and unique experience on with Hyperlight. I think Solar will have some similar threads for you with kind of wild visuals and audio experiences all kind of melting into one. So I hope that blows your mind in a good way. It'd be super cool to get a description of what synesthesia is for people from you, if you think you could describe it, though I understand if you couldn't. I think people know the definition, but I've yet to find like a really good descriptor, you know. Somebody asked, did you just find, wait, let me see. Did you just start drawing junk and find a character in there? Asks Parker. Yes, I did. That's the jam here, is there's nothing predetermined about this, because that's what I do all day long. So this is purely improvised, and whatever I find interesting in these drawings, I will start to make stuff out of it. And it'll probably look dumb, but that's okay, because I don't really care. But it might look cool, you know? I'm going to finish out this bird here. This bird is going to have a big, powerful neck, powerful bird neck. Nothing beats a powerful bird neck. Let's see. And then, ooh, yeah, there we go. Maybe it'll have like a long tongue that comes out. I think that would be pretty cool. There we go. Gross bird tongue. Yep, just licking the world. That's what you're doing, bird. I'm going to make a very bold... Ooh, too much white. Okay. Let's go back to questions. But yeah, that's what I'm doing here, is just finding what interests me in the forms and shapes out of just random garbage that I put down, and try and make cool stuff out of it, interesting things out of it, you know. That's a pretty common practice with concept art. You know, some people will start with letters, you know, they start typing things. Other people will start with, you know, like Google image searches and start to shove some stuff together in a collage. You know, I like to just paint around with a giant brush with some texture and find out what the fuck's gonna happen here. Look, I found another friend here. This friend is going to have a creepy eye and is going to be inverted. There we go. This is a bird drawing, obviously. There's a lot of bird happening in this drawing, but I'm okay with that, because you know what? I've come to enjoy birds. I used to fear birds, but now I can be persuaded to be a bird fan. Not Larry Bird, but just birds in general. Layer bird seems fine. All right, this bird, what is this bird doing besides standing here? Is this bird going to have any kind of eye? Yep, it's going to have an eye. And then this bird is going to Oh, I wish this bird had some pizza. You know? Wish I had some pizza. See, I told you we were going to talk about pizza. Maybe on this side, the bird has some pizza. Or maybe he's shrugging and saying, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, bird pizza. Here we go. I got it. We're going to make some pizza here. Some crust, some cheese. It's going to be the sketchiest pizza. Ooh, some pepperones. Some very bad pepperonis. It looks like a happy face right now. That's okay. Totally normal. That's what pizza looks like. If you want to challenge me on that, I will fight you. That's fine. Haven't you ever seen a pizza like this that looks back at you, that sees you? All right, questions. Merc Collective says, hey, quick question. Is Solar Ash going to be online? I would love that. Merc, I'm sorry. No, it is not going to be online. I think that would be cool too, but we made a single player game. That is also cool. Online multiplayer is a lot of fun, but Solar Ash was conceived as a single player experience, so, you know, maybe you could have some friends over and play together, or maybe you could live stream and get some online experience that way with them, but you're gonna have to get through that game as a single player experience. But you're right. That would be cool. But I don't think it's going to happen. Who else? The Game Ninja? I don't know. Can we expect Solar Ash's EGS page to get updated soon? System requirements and release is still coming soon. That is a good question. Yes. It'll get updated pretty soon. It is the middle of the month, and there is a lot to do still, including getting that EGS store page up to par. We're going to move on from this bird, and we're going to go to a different bird. Surprise. How many birds can I draw in one bird PSD? I don't know what this is yet, but it's something. There's a shape here that I like. Let's figure out what this shape is. We'll peck away. It's gonna be all bird related, so you know, if you don't like that, the door's that way. Maybe this is a space bird. Not sure yet. Maybe this is a multi-eyed bird. I can't tell what this is yet, and it's frustrating. Maybe it's nothing. I see a bird here. Here's a bird. Oh. Birds forever. Okay, there we go. We're getting there. This is a bird's skull. So, again, a lot of dead birds, but you know, bird skulls are very cool. Skeletons in general are very cool. Whoop. My mic is sinking. Tight. How embarrassing. Well, if it starts sinking again, we'll see what happens. All right. Persian Prince 12 says, hi, Alex. I'm a huge Easy Allies fan. Was just wondering how long you've known Isla Hink, and how did you meet her? She's been dropping you in the Heart Mission team over the years. Yeah, we've known each other for, I don't know, many years now. Used to come to Glitch City events, which were a lot of fun, whether it was game nights or movie nights or things like that. We just run in the same circles in LA. That's all. Like a lot of people. Okay, this is going to become something. But yeah, she's a very cool person. And I remember the days of like game trailers and all that fun stuff. So glad to know a cool person like that. With good taste in things, especially games. How do you know? Through Easy Allies? Okay, my microphone is still syncing. Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous. I'm going to fix this. Hold on. Hold on to your butts while I fix this microphone. this is what I get for having a incomplete setup. I have ridiculous things happening. There we go. Okay. And now it is fixed. Wow. Amazing. Merc asks the same question that I looked at. Polaire asks, who's the voice behind Ray? Ray has a voice. The voice is, well, I don't know if I can announce it yet, but you'll find out soon. And she did amazing work on Ray. I'm very grateful to have had this person work on the VO. We were fortunate to find some pretty amazing and talented VO artists. So, shout out to all of them who I don't know if I'm able to announce yet, but I'll just say shout out and say thank you for all your amazing and hard work. All of the voice folks who participated in this project. Because you fucking did it. You blew it out of the water. Incredible stuff. Voice acting is wild. I have never done anything on that front. I've had friends who, are voice actors and everything else, and that's great. But actually watching the process, being involved in the process directly, it's intense. You can do some long days and a lot of different takes, and there's a whole lot of really incredible work that goes in on many different fronts there with voice acting, from the actors themselves to any directors that are there or anybody else that's coordinating. It's an immense amount of labor. And again, we were fortunate to have an incredible team working on that, on every aspect of it. So, thank you to everybody that did such an incredible job with voice acting in general for a game. It's funny, with voice acting, we were not going to do it originally. There was some idea that our main antagonist would have VO and nobody else would. But, as we dug into it, it became one of those things that seemed like a really good opportunity to elevate the experience. And so it was an easy call to say yes to, but it was a lot of work to get it right and to do it well. So it turned out great, no regrets on that front. But yeah, if you're gonna do VO in any shape or form for your own production, I would highly suggest giving yourself a lot of time, especially if you're doing it for the first time. But yeah, it was great. And we'll announce, the people who participated once the game's released, and I'll give a much clearer shout out then. All right, let's answer some more questions. Long legs, they are long legs. Oh, the Outer Wilds. Oh yeah, Outer Wilds has great sound design and a great soundtrack. Definitely amazing. Okay, so Kong says, I think they're talking about synesthesia. So they say, obviously I can't speak for anyone but myself, but imagine if all your separate senses coexisted in the same vessel as a single type of feeling, like everything is everything is everything. All right, that is a pretty cool description. Thank you. I can imagine things overlapping a whole lot, and that being really disorienting, having synesthesia and not knowing that you have it for the first time. So I'm curious if there were ever very confusing moments that you had experiencing it. I'm asking all the questions now. All right, other questions. Dog caretaker. Question. I've had to undergo emergency surgery due to a brain stroke. I've thought about making a game about my experience. Any tips for starting out? Well, dog caretaker, that is awful that you had to go through that, and I'm sorry that you did. I'm glad that you're okay, even though we don't even know each other. I'm just glad another human being is okay, and I appreciate you sharing your experience there in a public forum like this. You know, it's not always easy to do, but I think it can be healthy and cathartic to kind of open up about these things that are super fucked up and hard to deal with on your own, you know, getting support otherwise. So I hope your brain recovers and you're okay now. I mean, making a game about experiences, about life experiences, seems like a perfectly valid thing to me. You know, that's what Drifter was mostly about on the story and kind of world side of things. You know, my own personal trials and tribulations, and translating that into something bigger and bolder. Of course, it became a big collaborative effort, and it was translated into, you know, an actual real game, and people on the team were great collaborators, and, you know, we made it into something much bigger than just some, you know, journal entry about something. But the experience itself was supposed to reflect kinds of some of the ways that I'd felt over, you know, my lifetime. So it depends on, I know that's not a great answer, right? And like it depends thing, but it really does. Like, what kind of game do you want to make, really? And what do you want to say about this experience? Is it just a kind of vent, or have some sort of record of it? Is it supposed to be, you know, like a facsimile of it, as some sort of like representation of it? Or is it like a direct translation of the experience in some way? You know, like, are you going to make a game about you personally in this world, or, you know, or is it going to be like a fantastical version? So it really depends on what you want to do, and also just keeping in mind, like, what is your capacity for this? Like, what's your dedication to it? Because, you know, you should be scope aware. If it's something that you want to make as a more short-term project, then yeah, go for it. Do a game jam or something else, and do what you got to do to, you know, feel like you've spoken your mind and said your piece and shared your story with whoever you think you need to share your story with, and that can be amazing. But if it's a bigger production, then, and it requires, you know, more time and effort and people involved, then you should be aware of the true costs of that. So that's, just be aware and understand like what you're trying to make before you dig too deep into it, especially if you're bringing other folks into it, because games are a commitment. You know, one way or another, games are not easy to make, and if you're bringing other people into the equation, you know, you'll definitely want to make sure that you respect their time, respect your own time, and see how committed you are. But hey, making games about personal experience sounds great to me. It can be great. You just gotta know what you're making, you know, and you gotta know what you're getting yourself into, because they can really, really sneak up on you with all the scope. All right, what else are we making here? So far, I've done a lot of birds. I'm probably gonna keep doing birds, but maybe, oh, I see a bird. Aha. Here's a bird. I'm gonna do an eagle, because who doesn't love an eagle? Fun thing, eagles. They are amazing creatures. I know that, you know, we've taken, I think a lot of people in America take the eagle for granted, you know, bald eagle or whatever type of eagle. You know, you see them as a kid all the time on flags and whatever else. We talk about them in relation to whatever patriotic blah blah blah, and I think a lot of people don't really consider, you know, what these birds of prey are, but they are wild creatures. You know, they are fucking incredible. They have humongous claws, incredible murder claws that you do not want to fuck with. And they're like the apex predator of their domain. You know, they can fly and swoop down and murder basically anything, and they pick up all sorts of animals, not just rodents and small things. Like they pick up big, chonky things. They pick up little, you know, deer and everything else too. They will fuck you up. One of my favorite movies as a kid was this movie, The Rescuers Down Under. If you've seen that, and it has an amazing gold eagle in it. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to draw a mouth. Oh, there we go. An eagle mouth. Let's draw a better mouth. Nah, no mouth. It'll just be... There we go. It had this amazing gold eagle in it. And that gold eagle was humongous. And I fantasized about having a giant gold eagle buddy to hang out with like that. I wished that I did. If you haven't seen that movie, I think it still holds up, and I would recommend it. It's pretty cool. All right. Let's see. Other questions from folks. Moosh. The fact that you're just drawing shapes and deciding what they are later is so creative. Wish I had that power. Well, Moosh, I will say, you know, you can do this too. It takes some practice, you know. Maybe for some folks it comes more naturally, others not so much, but it's really about paying attention, you know, and not being afraid to commit to something. You know, it's learning about shapes and forms. It's learning about value. I'm talking about art, you know, like the different tones and shades and things like that. And so you get a good understanding of form and shape. You know, it's like, oh, I want to put a highlight on here so that it looks like it's going to be a, you know, more rounded piece. And there we go. Now I've created something that I can do some cool stuff with. Maybe I'll make it a more like robotic piece of something. You know, I'll give it some digital or like future lines. Yeah, everyone likes future lines, like Halo, because Halo just came out. You know, all future doors will have 45-degree angles. That's what video games have taught me, and you can't tell me otherwise. Also, robots. Gundam has taught me that, so. And it's gonna have some sweet stuff going on here. Boop, boop, boop. Oh yeah, there we go. In case you're wondering what's going on here, I'm drawing stuff. And the point of this hangout is just to draw, answer questions. You know, when Solar's close, we'll start doing some streaming, you know, of the game itself, and answering questions from that at some point. Maybe we'll stream some other games eventually, but hey, just getting a small start, getting a crew together, you know, seeing what we can see. Eventually would like to branch out and again start including more people into this type of format. Maybe do group drawing or other fun things like that with artist friends. But yeah, for now, just taking it easy for an hour out of the day. I will tell you, the days are very busy. Shipping out a game is really hard, and you know, there's a lot of people working incredibly hard on our team. You know, making sure that we pass certification and do all the stuff that we need to do in order to get the game into the best shape possible with the limited time that we have left. So it's nice to once in a while not be in meetings and just hang out here online, even if nothing wild comes of it. But you know, hopefully people enjoy watching other people draw, because that's what's going on here. Other questions from folks, please. If you got questions about anything, I don't care. Ask them. We'll see if I answer. I probably will in some form or another. That is too light. I want to give this eagle, this sweet eagle, like a little bit of a highlight, but sometimes you can overwork a drawing and then you pay the price. This is not quite an eagle, I realize. The shape is kind of fucked, but you know, it's close enough. Anyway, eagles, you should go hang out with them if you can. they're really cool. If you've got a zoo or something that has eagles or some sort of, you know, really awesome setup that shows some the power of birds of prey, they are fascinating creatures. I don't know what this one's going to do yet. Maybe it has a cool neck. Oh, I see what's going on here. It's going to have a wing hanging out right here. There we go. There's that wing. We're going to do a big swoopy wing here. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, like I was saying earlier, you can learn to do this too. Take some practice, but it's really freeing because you don't have to worry about anything. You know, get a good brush that you like. I really love this brush for this type of work. It gives me a lot of texture, shapes, forms, etc., and allows me to just go for it. I also just use a standard, you know, round brush, pretty default usually for a lot of things because, hey, it's very versatile and it's not distracting. You know, if you're trying to do simpler things, then that can be really useful. But it's all a matter of preference. I don't know what this is. Oh, ooh, it's another bird. Haha. Let's see if people can find the bird. Okay, this bird is going to be in shadow, and we'll get, oops, don't do that. We'll get, ooh, I see what's going to happen here. There's going to be an underbite. There we go. A very cool underbite for this bird. And then it's going to have, like, you know, very shaggy hair covering his eyes. That's going to be part of it. Yep. And then he's going to have some very silky anime hair. Ooh, yeah. Slick locks. And then we're going to try and get you, right there. Yeah, get the silhouette correct here. And then he's going to have, what are you going to have? You're going to be long-necked. He's going to have a goofy gizzard neck. What is a gizzard? Isn't a gizzard like part of the guts of a bird? Gross. All right, there we go. And then we're going to go back and give him a little more detail here. Some feathers. Ooh, there we go. Boop, 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 boop. Again, this is just quick stuff. I'm not trying to do anything super fancy here. So, there we go. Get that overbite in. Gotta have a little nostril here. There we go. Good old bird nostril. And we'll kind of have this goofy Beatles cut. Perfect. Perfect. Now I got a goofy ass looking bird. It looks more like a dinosaur, but you know, interchangeable, so either way, it's a win. Dinosaurs, birds, they're both pretty cool. Does anybody have a favorite dinosaur? We should all have a favorite dinosaur. All right, other questions. Parker says, hardest thing about starting something is looking at a blank page, but you've managed to solve that. Well, Parker, you know, the fun thing about this exercise is that you just throw shit on a canvas, you know, and you don't have to worry about what you're starting with because it's just random sketches. You know, you'll figure it out as you go. And that's not always the case in a lot of art, and especially when making games. You kind of got to know what you're committing to before you jump right in. And so the joy of this exercise is that freedom, so that I don't have to worry about, you know, what I'm making here. I'll find what I'm making through time and experimentation and just chiseling away and fun things. So, you know, I'm already starting to find some forms and shapes that I like here, for example. I don't know what this is going to be yet. I'll figure it out, maybe. And if I don't, big deal. Don't need to. But this is looking fun. Let's get this little, it's like a bone or like a piece of a face. Okay, and I need to match the same here. This is going to be, oh, it's like an extrusion. Okay, what do we got? We got this extrusion here. Still still don't know what it is. You know, I think my rule is if I don't know what it is within 15 seconds, 10 seconds, then I do something else. Oh, I do know what it is now. Okay, I got it. This is the only human here. And they're gonna get some, whoop, too dark. Yeah, okay, here we go. Whoop. They're gonna get a big, stupid mouth and a fun nose. Yep, there we go. I guess they look more like a Muppet, but I'm a big fan of Muppets, so it's still good by me. And then, yeah, we'll get a little edge there. I think he's gonna have a very cool haircut. He's gonna have like a flowing upward radish haircut. Oh yeah, there we go. That's pretty good. We'll thin that out, spike it up a bit. Yeah. There we go. And now you see what's going on with this guy. And he'll have his mouth adjusted again. Keep it going, kid. Yeah. It's very dumb, but that's what is fun about this, is I can make dumb stuff. It doesn't matter. Boop. Yeah, there's a guy. Okay. What similarities, asks Derek Thomas, can be seen in both HLD and Solar Ash? HLD is incredibly fun, one of my favorite games ever. Hi, great. I'm glad you enjoyed our work on that. Thank you for providing a lifetime video game staple for me personally. That's wild to know that it's a lifetime staple. I think, you know, when I think of games that I'm going to be playing every few years, you know, it's things like Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time or Mario 64 or whatever else, you know. Smash Brothers in some form or another, old or new. Similarities between Solar and HLD. Well, I mean, stylistically, there's a lot of like visual continuity, and on the audio side as well. You know, we really care about building up a lot of atmosphere and like a good vibe. Not a good vibe, like a dark vibe a lot of the time, or oppressive vibe in some cases. Good vibe as in like, you know, a lot of time and effort and thought has been put into the sound design of things. You know, sound is incredibly important to the experience, to elevating it, you know, to making the player feel a way that otherwise just pure visuals, you know, wouldn't do. So I think we're very fortunate to have a medium that can dig into all these different aspects of art and present them in a unified format that does something truly, truly special that you can't get anywhere else. So, I mean, that's the stuff you'll see. It's just a lot of the stylistic choices we make are going to be, you know, you'll see a through line visually, sonically, Sonic the Hedgehogly, no, sonically, and even with the story. You know, it's still, it's a story about people struggling. It's a story about trauma and trying to escape those cycles of it. And much like Drifter was, you know, it's I think there's plenty of room still to tell stories like that and dig into what trauma means to different people for different reasons, you know, and speak to different parts of audiences about their own personal experiences, and hopefully tap into something really meaningful to a group of people, you know, even if it's limited. You know, for me, for the stuff that we make, it has to be personally resonant. And so again, these stories that we're writing, and Solar is a very collaborative effort on many fronts, including, you know, the story creation. But even still, there's a highly personal resonance there for me on the story, on the characters, and kind of the meanings behind these things, and also what it says about us as a studio. So you'll see a lot of that stuff come through, you know, I hope, when you play it. But it's, yeah, you'll get some similar vibes, I think, in places. And again, like, it's a more explicit story now, VO and text and all that fun stuff, so it's not purely visual, but you'll still get a lot of visual storytelling. So yeah, I think Solar is kind of a logical next step for us in a lot of ways. That continues to expand on our skill set as a studio and our identity and style and brand. So you'll see plenty of threads that connect, tissue that connects the two games, even if they're not sequels by any means, prequel, sequel, or anything. They are connected in the sense that, we made both games. Different setups for the teams, but ultimately Heart Machine, is making these things, and so the hope is that you'll start to recognize, what that means for it to be a Heart Machine game. But plenty is the short answer. You'll find plenty that connects the games spiritually. This is going to be a knight with a really cool and spooky suit of armor, and they're gonna have some cool line eyes and maybe some fucked up teeth. Yeah, spiky teeth. Cool. 649. All right, Chozo statue, says Parker. I guess so. You end up drawing what you end up drawing. Shadow User 3 says, any advice for games still in concept? Games still in concept. Advice. I was talking about this earlier. Scoping appropriately is super fucking important. It's a lesson that you learn, and I think you'll learn over and over. I've talked to plenty of other colleagues and folks in the industry, and it's like, well, the scope of your game can easily get you into trouble. And certainly with Solar, we spent 5 years on this project, and that was not the initial plan. So we were very fortunate that we have a publisher that believes in us. We're very fortunate that we have, such a talented and dedicated team continuing to work on it and see it through to the end. But it's not always the case. It's not always the fortune for people. So I think as you're digging in and kind of really figuring out what all this means, then the best thing to do is scope appropriately. Know what you're good at, know what you're not good at. If you can hire for the things that you're not good at, great. If you can't, then don't try. Don't make them a centerpiece of your creative endeavors. Unless you're like really really jonesing to learn, and you think you're gonna hit it. But I would suggest, of course, like break boundaries and like learn stuff. And if you really want to do that and you think you can achieve that, that's amazing. Go for it. But you should also know your boundaries, and you should really understand yourself creatively and your team, if you have a team, and what those limitations are, because you can get yourself into trouble if you don't. You can innovate, you can do all sorts of wild stuff, but I think the thing is, your eyes are always going to be bigger than what the capabilities are. So there will always be cool ideas that pop up throughout production. So don't think that, oh shit, if I don't do it now I'll never get to do it. It's like, well, you might, and save it for the next game. Just if you're truly passionate about this stuff, then you can put it into other productions in the future. I think this is going to be an owl. Yeah, this is an owl. I see you, owl. You can't hide from me. Okay, I know there are some other questions, and I want to catch up to them. What would be helpful, I think, is having somebody to read the questions, but I don't have that right now. Maybe next time we'll do that. I'm learning. But this is going to be an owl, not an owl of Ga'Hoole. I don't know if anybody's seen that movie, but it is a kind of a silly movie. Do I even know how to draw an owl? I will pretend I know how to draw an owl. It'll probably be owl-like, but not really. Well, here we go. Yeah, okay, I got you, owl. I think we're gonna be friends here, owl. There we go. Yeah, needs a little bit more sharpness there, but it's coming. You see the owl, right? We'll give him a little bit of a shine on the beak. Give him a little bit more darkness around here. Yeah. Okie doke. Yeah, owl's starting to come together. And then, what else will you do for this cool owl? We will give him a cool owl cape, I think. Wait, we need to give him a shine in his eye to really shine bright. Whoop. There we go. That's an owl. BBB Orbo says, just join the stream. I really enjoy making games with a few of my friends, but when it comes to releasing them to the public, I'm really struggling with getting my projects seen. Do you have any advice for any developers or artists trying to put themselves out there? You know, the market is crowded, that is for sure. And trying to get your vision, your game, your, you know, whatever it may be out there in any marketplace right now creatively is tough. It's a brutal environment in a lot of ways. There's a lot of content creation happening in many different ways, and there are more ways than ever to actually promote yourself, to advertise. TikTok or Instagram or, you know, even Facebook traditionally still. The fact that Facebook is like older media and more traditional is kind of understand like where we're at is in the future. So the fact that Steam has opened up so much more than it did before is, you know, has the floodgates are not going to be closing anytime soon. And you see what happens, which is you get a lot of cool stuff, but there's also the drawback of, again, just market saturation. So with that in mind, knowing that that's not going to really change, I think the best thing that you can do for yourself as a developer is ask, you know, what's going to make our game stand out? This is a very angry looking owl, I realize that. It's going to have a heavy brow. There we go. Yeah, very heavy brow. We'll thin it out a little bit, but it's not like the Zelda owl, which is much more friendly. This owl is kind of pissed off and ready to fight. Oop, there we go. Yeah, like I was saying, ask yourself what sets your game apart. You know, like why would people pick this game over this other game? Because if you're not thinking about that, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Like marketing and all those other aspects of the business are just as important as the creative vision. You know, there are good products, good games that die on the vine, or whatever metaphor you want to use, that just, you know, they never make an impact. I'm spending too much time on this owl. They never make an impact because it just didn't find its audience for whatever reasons. Even if it's a really fucking good game, even if it's got, you know, plenty to it that, you know, like why didn't it make it? Why didn't it make a splash? Why didn't anybody notice? You know, why did it only sell a few thousand copies? Because that is the reality of Steam. You know, if you've looked at statistics, it's like most games on there, the vast majority only sell a few hundred or thousand copies in their life, if you're fortunate enough to even get that. A lot of other stuff, you know, the games that do, you know, the million mark or beyond are the very rare exception. You know, that's like the 1%. Sure, you see the front page of Steam or whatever marketplace it is that you're going on, you see these games promoted all the time, and so you don't really think about it, but that is the reality. Is a lot of games don't make it, and even games that are deserving of your time and attention, because the market is crowded. And the only way to really get your game seen is to make something unique. Well, that's not the only way. I take it back. That was very generalist, but I don't like to use blanket terms like that, but a good way to get your game seen is to set yourself apart, you know, from your other peers / competitors. You know, if you're making another Metroidvania, you better make it unique, because there's already a bunch of Metroidvanias out there, including Metroid that just came out, that are incredible games, you know, classics now. It's like people love Hollow Knight, you know, they're looking forward to the new one. People love the new Metroid, you know. And I use the Metroidvanias as the example because, like, that is what a lot of indie devs end up doing first, is a side-scrolling Metroidvania, because they love Metroidvanias, and there's nothing wrong with them. I am a fan at times, but there is a lot. There are a lot of really excellent Metroidvanias out there. There are a lot of not so great Metroidvanias out there, and there's some really bad ones too. So, you know, ask yourself when you're developing things like, is this going to stand out? And maybe there's some other sector of the market that you can represent. You know, you really genuinely have to think about the business side of it. Thinking about purely the creative, you know, sure, you could luck into or happen into and be very fortunate to have the right game at the right time without even considering the market at all. And like, yeah, you didn't do any research, and just like, I wanted to make an RTS and people love this RTS because it's like a sim game, whatever else. Like, sure, you know, that's like completely possible, but I wouldn't rely on it. You know, I think you want to make your own luck, essentially. You want to mitigate as much risk as possible and just look at what's around. And again, it's tough. It's a tough market, and games are very, like, games development is a very volatile industry, you know, in a lot of different ways. And when it comes to the market itself, it can be pretty fickle, you know. Following trends is rarely the right answer, unless you're a giant AAA studio that can actually replicate these things, you know, in ways that are, you know, at a certain scale. You know, like, if just because you love a battle royale game, like, don't just try and make another one. You have to put your own spin on it. You know, you can love something, but try and do something unique with it. And again, the core question to ask and to answer for yourself is, what sets this game apart from all the other games out there in whatever genre you choose to put it yourself in? Because I guarantee you, there's a dozen other games that are very similar to yours and will be hard to discern. You know, here's one more example as we're kind of getting close to the hour, and I'll answer a few more questions. But, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, pixel art, it wasn't like a big, you know, it wasn't in every game. It was more of a rarity. You know, you had things like Sword and Sorcery, you know, the Super Brothers and Capybara doing a lot of stuff in that realm, you know, Phil Fish with Fez, you know, those were a lot of kind of like breakout pixel art hits, or, you know, games that people noticed. And soon it became, you know, within like 5 or 10 years, it became so many different games hitting a lot of similar styles, you know, and to the point where I think people became fatigued from it after a while. And now in 2021, it's like, well, there's nothing wrong with pixel art. It's just there's a lot of it out there, and there's a lot of really good pixel art out there now. You know, people have learned a lot about like how to manage that, you know, and how to make excellent representative things from it. So in one sense, like, the medium has progressed in a lot of ways when it comes to pixel art specifically. And that's amazing. But then, you know, you look at the landscape and it's like, well, people are kind of fatigued from it. So maybe you spend all your time doing pixel art, but, you know, your audience is going to be like, why didn't you try something new or different? So if you're going to do pixel art, you know, make sure it's different enough that it stands out, just like anything. So, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put an adjustment layer in here. I'm going to push and pull on this. I'm gonna whoop, whop, make it more contrasty so it looks cooler. You can see, whoop, 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 yeah. And then, oops, we're gonna answer a couple more questions and then we're gonna call it. thoughts on the Drifter crossover with Dead Cells? The Dead Cells folks are super cool, and it's really cool to have that stuff in there. So I'm happy with the collaboration there. They did an amazing job. You know, the Motion Twin is a good group of folks, and you know, they really care about the stuff that they make a whole lot. So, and it shows. Negative Space asks, do I have a comfort food? Not really, because food does not comfort me. Food does not like me. Food hates me. No thanks says, I love the Ga'Hoole books as a kid. I was very excited for the movie. You know, the movies are strange, but I'm glad that you enjoyed them. If you enjoyed them. You said you were very excited, so that could mean that you didn't actually like them. Market saturation, the cold shower to every dream job. It's true. You know, as tools become more accessible, as platforms become more democratized, as audiences become more aware and tech savvy and whatever else, it's like you get a lot of benefits out of that, and a lot of amazing creative games and media of all sort. But again, you know, it's always a two-edged sword. It's like, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff now that's produced all the time. Just like the sheer amount of games, we're talking about games here, that are put onto Steam every year, every day. You know, you really got to think about how you're going to stand out, because it's not enough anymore just to be like, hey, I really love this game. Let me make my version of it that is somewhat different, but mostly the same, because there's probably something like that that's already happened. You know, it's like Symphony of the Night has been done to death now. There have been so many people that have like basically made their version of Symphony of the Night, where it's like, I got the dash in there, and like, you know, I do similar pixel art style, and it's like, I've seen really good versions of that. I love that game, and even some of those derivative works like are very cool and very true to it. But you know, how many times am I really willing, and how many times is an audience, a general audience, really willing to play, you know, different variations of that game? So, Kensei says, just wanted to stop by and say, that I love your work and games. Thank you, Kensei. I hope you enjoy Solar Ash when it comes out. Oh, you do have a question. Do you have any plans on releasing physical collector's editions of Solar Ash? So that is not my piece to say, because, you know, we work with our publisher Annapurna, and certainly there have been discussions about that stuff, and we'll see what ends up happening. You know, I would love to put out Solar Ash in as many formats and platforms and whatever else as we can, to represent it, you know, to as broad an audience as we can. So we'll see what happens. You know, nothing to announce, nothing. Never say never, but who knows at the moment? You know, we're still trying to finish the game and ship it out in the first place. Mads Jacob says, what would you say was the thing that set Hyper Light Drifter apart from the other games? Well, I mean, ultimately, I think with Hyper Light is it was at the right time that it had a kind of heavily stylized pixel art aesthetic to it, and vibe and tone that people enjoyed. And again, it was early enough to the market, or it made it just in time to the market for that kind of stuff to resonate and come in before the swell of other games that had some that were doing some things in like a similar vein. So it was right place, right time, you know. And I think also we had a level of quality and polish that stood apart from others, you know, whether it's our gameplay or, you know, our audio or visuals. Like, all those things really stood out as, I think, you know, the work that went into them, I think, was well recognized. So that quality makes a difference, you know. It really does. Okay, I think we're gonna call it here. Thanks everybody for hanging out and, you know, sitting along to draw on here, and talking and answering questions and all that fun stuff. I'll see you all next week, same time, 6 p.m. PST. Thank you so much. Bye.